guys, it's time to do an oil change on the E39 M5. The E39 M5 has 2 oil specifications, and this is definitely a hotly contested issue, so please, if you're mad about what I'm about to do with this car, don't dislike it, just tell me in the comments below and explain your case. The first oil that was used in these cars, the Euro spec, the 1998 through 2000, US only got the 2000 at this point. This is the pre-facelift. They used 10W60. When the 2001s came out, the 01 through 03 specified 5W30. This car, being an 01, says 5W30 all over it, and it has 5W30 in the owner's manual. When you go to, let's say, Turner ECS, it's the same thing now. When you do an oil change kit, it'll give you the option of 10W60 or 5W30. If you go on forums, you're gonna find that a lot of people don't particularly like putting 5W30 in these cars. And I haven't really found much of a reason not to do this. Primarily because this car never runs hot. It's always right within the temperature range. Even if I'm railing on it, it never goes above that like middle ground in the oil temp thing. So for now, I'm just gonna stick with the 5W30 because that's what's been in this car all its life. When you get your oil order for the kit, you're gonna get your 7 liters of 5W30 and you're gonna get an oil filter. Inside the box with the oil filter is going to be your filter, a new gasket, and a crush washer. Before you go ahead and release that drain plug, you're gonna wanna go ahead and crack this. Under the car, you are gonna find this little flap. This flap has a screw on it. You undo the screw and that gives you access to the oil drain plug. You can go ahead and pop this little door off, make it easier. And for whatever reason, the M5 oil drain plug uses a 13mm socket. So you go ahead and break that. I always wear gloves because no matter how clean I think I'm gonna be, I'm gonna get oil on me, and oil is disgusting. And you don't want that in your skin. Not bad. So let's let this drain for a while, then we'll fill it up and put an oil filter in it. Oh yeah, nice and good. You may have noticed that my engine bay is not as clean as, say, Ryan Schultz from E39 Source, so I'm gonna have to go to Ohio and have Canon really go through this car for me. But in the meantime, let's at least take care of it mechanically. A lot of you probably go on and buy the socket that goes on top of here, and that's great. I'm kind of a disbeliever, and I just go ahead and use my strap wrench. When I cracked that open, I actually heard more oil come out. So this seems to be more of an influencer in terms of like holding back any vacuum than anything else. So if you remember on the E92 oil change, I made a bit of a mess when I tried to take off the cap of the remote oil reservoir. This time I think I was smart because I drained first, I let that crack open a little bit, and let's find out if I make a mess this time. But always make sure that you've got some towels around and something to put that filter in because it's gonna be gross. Now we're gonna go ahead and separate the filter from the housing. And it's not a bad idea to inspect the filter just to make sure there's no big like shards of metal hanging around in there. I'm gonna also give you the opportunity to see the difference between the Hengst oil filter, which is what I just pulled off of there, and the Man oil filter. I have read nothing about these. This is what came on the kit last time I ordered from ECS, and this is what came in the kit this time I ordered from ECS. So, leave a comment below if there's some studies between these two, and one is terrible and one is good. I can always swap it out the next time. Now's a good time to swap out this gasket on the housing and hang on to your crush washer so when you go ahead and bolt up your oil pan again, you're ready with your new one. You're gonna wanna take a little bit of fresh oil, lube up the new O-ring before you throw it on there. new oil filter. The new oil filter will click into place, and you can put that bad boy right back on there. When I did the oil change video on the E92 M3, I got a comment that said, hey, your car is at an angle. You're not getting all the oil out. So to address that issue, we have my lovely assistant, I call her Mom, and we are going to jack the car up together. One jack on that side, one jack on that side, and we're gonna see if anything comes out of the bottom. Over here. We leveled out the car. What we've learned is I didn't hear anything else dripping out of that oil pan, which means that that drain plug is pretty well situated near the back. So even though the car is up on ramps, it's pretty much draining everything because I don't hear anything. So that test has been completed. And of course, before you go ahead and start putting oil back in your car, you're gonna wanna go ahead, take that drain plug, replace the crush washer. Now, before we pop on the little door that goes over it, I'm gonna go ahead and put some oil in it because I do wanna make sure that it's not leaking before I've assumed that everything's perfect. I always use a funnel because every time I don't use a funnel, I regret that I didn't use a funnel, so just use a funnel. The E39 M5 takes 6.5 liters of oil. I've put in about 6. I'm gonna go ahead and start it up just to get it through the system and fill up this filter housing before I dump in that extra half. We'll go ahead and let that idle for a second, get the system full of oil, and then we'll top it off. Thank you guys for watching this little oil change tutorial in M5. I know it's basic maintenance, but when you're working with like these cars, sometimes they're kind of freaky, and I know that I like to see that kind of stuff be done before I do it. So let me also apologize if I've reopened the can of worms about oil selection. But thank you so much for watching and subscribing. Stay tuned because this is what's coming up next week.